Harold from Long Beach, California, he said, I'm looking forward to your interview with Lincoln Riley. I was just curious, what was the vibe at USC while you were there? I suppose I should do this more. I don't talk a lot about the behind-the-scenes aspects of our trips, mainly because in exchange for the access we get, we're asked to keep our mouth shut on stuff, which is fair trade for me. But there's a lot you can share. So I was at Southern Cal. I had not been to Southern Cal until yesterday. So first off, the sit down with Lincoln Riley was awesome, really open, really transparent, brutally honest on a lot of things. And we will drop that Monday morning, first thing, especially first thing if you're on the West Coast. I'll tell you what it compares to, but you need to hear me out on this because it's going to sound bad. The vibe around the building at USC felt a whole lot like when we were at Florida last year. Hold on a second. Let me tell you what I mean. You remember I went to Florida last year and Napier was on the hot seat, job on the line. Everyone's selling their Florida stock, and I had not sat down with him before. So I went down there, and it was like a baseball bat to the face. Because when you went in the building and when you met with everyone and when you watched them and when you took in what it is they're about, it felt like Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State. And you find yourself saying, hold up, these people lost how many games last year? These people's jobs are on the line? How? It just felt like such a streamlined operation, and it had all the characteristics that the other big winning programs have. And it's not always like that. Most of the time, the vibe around a program reflects the results they've been getting. Most of the time. Not all the time. Florida was an exception to that last year. I say that because Southern Cal felt the exact same way. In fact, I asked Lincoln Riley this, so you can hear the way he answered it, but I said, your record has regressed 3 years in a row. An outsider would look at that, and if they had to guess what the energy is in the building, it's a lot of feeling things out, trying to throw stuff against a wall to see what sticks, trying to reinvent this, reinvent that. If you walked in that building right now, but you didn't know what the record had been last year, you would think they're coming off a playoff appearance. You would think that they are regularly expected to compete for the national championship. And that's because they do expect that. But it's not baseless. It's not, we're going to let the ghost of Pete Carroll and Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and Big T tradition just be the wind in our sails. No, they just believe in the moves they've made. So you can choose to believe that or not. You asked me what it felt like in the building. What it feels like in the building there is the same way it feels at Georgia or at Ohio State or at Alabama when we would go there, especially when Saban was there. The difference is their results haven't been on par with those places. So either it's all false bravado and hot air, or they're on to something and you're just about to find it out. Now, you can listen to what Lincoln Riley says about it when we release the sit-down Monday morning, but he was really, really honest about a couple of things. First thing he was honest about is what he'd do different. If he could go back and start it all over at USC, what he'd do different. Appreciated it, really honest. Didn't have to be that open, but he was really honest about it. But the second part was so resolute in what's about to happen. He spoke about it numerous times. Here's what's about to happen. As if he's already seen the previews of it. But they believe in the defensive hires they've made. They believe in the overhaul of the talent acquisition model out there. And that's only just kind of starting to pay dividends. But you can tell, they walk around like they've already ordered something and they know it's arriving in the mail tomorrow. They have that kind of confidence. They have the tracking number pulled up. They know it's out for delivery. And hey, quick time out. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. And all that's left is to get the notification that's there. That's the way they act. It's not arrogant. It's not anything like that. It's just there's a confidence, and these aren't people who have never been there before. Lincoln Riley's been to the playoffs multiple times. Chad Bowden, who just came over from Notre Dame, they just played in a national title game last year. That's his new general manager. So, those people in that building, they know what it feels like when you are there and when you're not there. And so that was the vibe. The vibe was that of a place where the internal feeling is so totally detached from the outside world. And the closest parallel I could give you is that's how Florida felt last year. Now, Florida started off rocky and ended up finishing red hot as a team. And now not many people are talking about hot seat with Billy Napier anymore. They're talking about Florida if they can get past their schedule, surprise contender this year. I think USC will be in the college football playoff picture this year. I think there'll be a player in it. Don't know if they'll make it. Starting next year and beyond, I think they're there. I have very little doubt about that. I do happen to fall on, just for the record, I happen to fall on the side of thinking there is a lot of validity to the vibe in the building. Many of you won't agree with that. That's okay. That's why they make them play the games. But just so you know where I stand, I went out there already with a pretty good hunch that, yeah, this is legit. And I did not have that feeling changed at all being around there yesterday. So really good sit down with Lincoln Riley. You'll see that Monday morning.